Welcome to the Rebel Podcast. I'm Debra Danielsen, your host. Our co-host, Waylon Carney, will be joining us from Palm Springs shortly. Today, for part one of this podcast, I wanted to kick off some really exciting news. I know a lot of you are BravoCon fans, and last year there was no BravoCon. This year, it's back, it's on with all the Bravo celebrities. And guess what? Andy Cohen live at Planet Hollywood. And his tickets go on sale actually June 11th. Now, BravoCon tickets go on sale June the 6th. And according to my sources here, the prices for BravoCon start at $672.61. And then there's premium add-on events. So if you want to mingle and meet some of your favorite Bravo celebrities, you can do it. I highly recommend this event. It's going to actually take place November 14th through the 16th at Caesars Forum. But if you're a Bravo fan, if you love the Housewives or any of the other programs, I highly recommend it. The other things we're going to talk about on the podcast are really kind of revolutionary. MTV is celebrating the 16th year of the franchise for Teen Mom. Can you believe in 2009, the franchise kicked off its first 16 and Pregnant premiere episode? And from that, we saw babies being born on TV, and now we are seeing in the latest episodes, happy 16th birthday to Sophia, my granddaughter, and Bentley, Macy's son and Ryan's son. And then we have Leah, who is now 16, Gary Shirley and Amber Portwood's daughter, and of course Carly, who was adopted out. So we have these wonderful babies that are not babies anymore, but 16 years old, well-grounded, and a lot of them seem so much more mature than their parents were when we started filming back in 2009. Anyway, we're going to have a great conversation about that. And plus, there's been some other exciting things going on. Talk about history making. It looks like Janelle Evans and Farrah Abraham, my daughter, and Ashley Jones recently got together out in Las Vegas for Safe Nest Las Vegas. And I was really happy to see that. I love talking to Barbara. I love her vibe, and she's a really smart woman. And I think Janelle's also beautiful and also smart. And I'd like to see more moms sticking together, supporting one another, and more to come on that discussion. The other things we're going to cover in the episode, we're going to be talking about Janelle's journey with Jace, now that she has gone through many legal maneuvers to get Jace back. Recently, she's been in the news about handing Jace over to her ex, Andrew, and sending him on a plane down to Florida to live with his dad. Some of the other cool things that are happening with the 16th anniversary photo shoot that recently went on for People magazine, noticeably missing are a lot of the OGs, the people who kicked it off. So I'm not there, my daughter's not there, my granddaughter's not there. There's a lot of people that are not there. Why are we not there? I think it should be all-inclusive. I think it should include everybody who's participated to make the event, this event of celebrating 16 years on TV and having a cast that shared their life and their life story, struggles, ups, downs, and all arounds. They should all be included because it's part of the history of the show. Anyway, congratulations to MTV and the entire cast and crew who made MTV's Teen Mom franchise successful. And happy 16th birthday. All right. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm I think I'm okay.
You look beautiful.
Well, thank you. So do you. You look like you're really up early.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I woke up at like 5 this morning. So,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. Well, I had nightmares all night about my job, so it was like
Oh no.
not good. But I wanted to share with you. We talked about doing this pajama party. So, one of the favorite things I drink before I go to bed, and I have now in the morning when I get up, is a Lonnie. Have you ever tried this?
No, what is it?
It's kind of like a little energy drink, but this one says it's called Dream Float. So it's kind
Okay.
of like orange soda pop, just softened. Just it's got like a really refreshing flavor and it's
Oh,
very hydrating.
ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah, what I really like about it, it's got all the vitamin B's in it. So I get a little dose of vitamin B all day long for energy. So that's really good. It's a natural.
Yeah, and that helps with like your mood and all that stuff too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then on the naughty side, I've always loved Belgian chocolate. So my snack, and you can tell I've been eating quite a few, but these are all different seashells kind of chocolatized, right?
Oh yeah.
So we got clams, starfish, seahorses. And here's what's really nice. A lot of chocolates are super small, but these are nice and big. So I popped three or four of these and I'm in good shape. Between the hugs from the chocolates and the energy and the B12 from the Alani, I'm like, okay.
You're having living your best life.
How's everything been there in Palm Springs? I heard you're having good success.
I sold my second house. Thanks. We closed on Friday, so that's been great. Just keeping at it. It's about to slow down here though because it's going to be so hot, so people leave during the summer because it gets up to like 120, 125.
I
So
know. I love it there. I don't care if it's 120 or 75. It's beautiful.
I don't it's so funny like during last summer when it was, 120, 115 every day like at the coolest. It got down to like I think like 80 degrees for a week in August. And I was like, it's so cold. I can't wait for it to be over 100 degrees again. Like, you know. So you really just get used
You acclimate, and it's hard for most people to understand how anybody could stand 120, 125, or 130.
yeah.
But believe me, it feels good to sweat the impurities out, and you
Yeah.
actually feel better.
Yeah, you do. You just have to remember to drink a lot of water, but
A lot of hydration.
yeah. And if you do anything outside, it's like you have to just drink water constantly because it's you sweat and just how and it, plus it's really dry out here. So
Those mountains out there are so beautiful.
yeah, they are. And they're especially when there's snow
Mhm.
on top, it's I don't know, it's just beautiful. I love watching it snow too because it's the clouds just sort of like envelop the whole mountain and then once they blow off, then you can see like it's just covered in snow. It's really pretty.
And you know the best part?
What's that?
You're looking at it, you don't have to shovel it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not that far away either.
No,
So
you're about a
yeah.
half hour or so. It's not even like, a major trip. Well, speaking of major trips, this year has been kind of interesting for Teen Mom Next Chapter. And one of the things that, just to kind of recap the season, I thought we could pick out our favorite girls, just kind of talk about them and some of their journeys. Whether these girls are on Teen Mom Next Chapter or they're just being promoted through the media because they've been popular on Teen Mom and the whole franchise. It's good to look back at some of these things, even the girls that are not currently on. because MTV made history this year with Teen Mom, the Teen Mom franchise. A lot of these babies that were born on 16 and Pregnant, the original franchise that premiered in 2009, believe it or not, they're celebrating their birthdays this year on Teen Mom Next Chapter and turning 16.
It's not wild.
Yeah,
It's just, yeah, that time just went by like that. Yeah.
mind
Um,
blowing.
yeah.
Now we will have one child that will not be on not able to share their 16th birthday and not able to share their journey, and that's my granddaughter, Sophia. I haven't seen Sophia in 4 years or talked to her, and I miss her desperately. One of the other girls that we haven't seen much of or heard much from is Carly. And
Right.
there's been a lot of scuttlebutt. There's been a lot of back and forth in the media. And especially, I know in this final episode, MTV has chosen to highlight a brief video clip of Carly singing. She appears to be very gifted. She sings in the church choir. Teresa and Brandon sent that over. Here's the thing, when somebody tries to do good, don't second guess it. Don't like dig down and over analyze it and then say, oh, I'm confused. I don't know what this is. Take it for what it is. It's a gesture of goodwill.
Yeah, exactly.
If I could just step back in a mom mode for a minute, just a minute, I would say to Caitlin, I would say to Tyler, what a blessing to have Carly sing a beautiful song, record it for you, and then her parents send it over for you as a gift.
Yeah, exactly. And you'll always have that, have that too and be able to listen to it. It was very sweet, a very sweet thing to do.
I think it was overshadowed by the fact that, so MTV, of course, has always been, we want to film in the moment. We want to get your first reaction. We don't want to stage your reaction because it's reality TV. That's part of being real. Tyler and Caitlin have been doing this for 16, 17 years, and they took to social media to complain about it. I really feel like Brandon and Teresa, and even Carly, if she's allowed to read that, would be kind of hurt and taken back that what they meant for good. Tyler and Caitlin have to complain about it. They've worked for MTV and taken a paycheck from them for many, many, many years, and that's added up to millions of dollars. Be grateful. And that's my mom moment. I'm not going to preach on. It could be worse, Caitlin and Tyler. You could be working for $25 an hour or $20 an hour, or with no education. How about $18 an hour?
For less. And people, you know,
Yeah,
work for way less now. So yeah, it could be a lot worse. And also, really, their adoption could be a lot worse too,
correct.
because there's so many closed adoptions. That's kind of the standard. So they're lucky that they still get some contact with her if it's, a song or before they got to see her and their children got to meet her and they don't realize how lucky that they have it. One thing I really liked about the most recent episode, they showed a lot of with their posts that they made online, they showed the responses from people that commented. And a lot of those were very like spot on. You know, I remember one person said, adoption isn't just letting someone else babysit your kids while you take the time to grow up and then
Right,
you get them back later. That's not how it works. Very insightful because it kind of sounds like that's what they thought it was. They were letting someone else raise her while they
right.
got their lives together and then eventually, she would still be in their life. But, it doesn't how it, that's not what adoption is. Unrealistic to expect.
I think that's well said. I also I couldn't help but feeling that this one comment was so hilarious. I think it was on the Ashley. One person was reading what Tyler had written back, his feelings, of course, all negative, all condemning of a goodwill gift. And this person said, "Well, I'm glad that he just wrote it down in regular language and didn't make a poem out of it."
Yeah.
That might be a hint that poetry is not his forte. I
His
don't know.
strong suit.
The other thing that's interesting is there's scuttlebutt about Tyler and Caitlin doing a documentary that's in progress about adoption. My take on that is God help us all. We need to make sure that we have a broad range of people who've gone through an adoption experience that are of varying viewpoints and have a very strong, healthy background as a family structure. And if you go back to Caitlin and Tyler's 16 and pregnant first episode, they've come from a family on both sides of a lot of trauma, a lot of addictions, poverty, just, you know,
Jail time, things like that. Yeah.
felonies. I mean, you name it. They've gone through it. They have had to literally grow up by themselves, really. And they've had the great fortune of MTV giving them jobs and a future. And I think MTV has done miraculous things for their family. They can have a beautiful house, they can have a good lifestyle, and Tyler can work out and be buff and right, and everybody can look good. So, I mean, there are people watching their journey through adoption, and they're really having a hard time finding the problem here with Brandon and Teresa. I think I think unjustly people don't understand the trauma that Tyler and Caitlin grew up in and that they had to face. And a lot of people can't relate to how that might affect their viewpoint and hurt about Carly. I see both sides, and I think Brandon and Teresa have taken the correct action in saying, right now, for this moment, we need to limit gifts. We need to limit exposure. You know, Carly's at a point where she needs to grow up and learn to make wise decisions. So I don't have a problem with what Brandon and Teresa are doing. I also didn't have a problem with what MTV decided to do and say, hey, you can't play this, you can't listen to it until we're filming because we want to see your genuine response of this gift.
Yeah, I think it's all, I mean, that's what they signed up for was that they,
That's what we
when,
all signed up for, right? Yes,
yeah. So it's just, I mean, Brandon and Teresa are her parents. They are the ones that make decisions for her and that are in her best interest. And I think I don't understand how, especially now that, Tyler and Caitlin have other children, how they
yes,
don't, and are parents now too, and should be able to see that
yes.
that's what they're, what Brandon and Teresa are doing and the reasons why. I don't understand why they don't. I don't understand why they don't understand that. And also, as far as like the reactions, they're on a reality show. Like I said, that's what they signed up for.
Right.
That sort of, getting a song or a gift from Harley that MTV would want their reaction, not something staged later. I don't really understand it. Sometimes I feel like they just sort of make
Wine,
these.
wine,
Yeah, it's always complaining about something, or
right.
everyone needs to understand their feelings about these things. And I get it that they're not happy about it, but still, like, how much have they benefited from it?
100%. And how
Yeah.
And you bring up a good point, Waylon. How do the other children that they have, how do they feel? You know, if those kids were asked, do you feel special? Do you feel like your mom and dad care more about Carly because they're constantly having an
Talking about her.
issue? And that creates, even though they may not speak it out, the children may not understand, and they may be afraid to speak up. That creates a real problem for these kids. It could confusion. Why are my mom and dad fixated on Carly? Am I not enough? Do you not love me enough? You know, you got to have some
I don't know.
balance.
I've never been in that situation, and I probably never will be, but I would just think that you would appreciate the children that you have and focus on them, accept the decisions that you've made,
Press on.
and just keep going. Yeah. And realize that you've benefited from those decisions. And if they had been left to raise her, it'd be in a much different situation, especially if they hadn't been on MTV and had, you
Right.
know, received money for the story and everything. It's just understanding, it seems, of like what what has benefited them in this, and
So here's
it's
the problem with entitlement. When you're entitled, the world looks very tiny and it fits in a perfect little box. And you're judgmental of everything else. But the minute you're humble and the minute you understand that you're entitled, you drop the condemnation and criticism of all the other people and you say, wait a minute, what could have what could I have missed here? What should I also understand about what's going on in their world, right? So I believe Carly being adopted out was a brave move by Tyler and Caitlin. I stood right there. I watched it. I held Carly. And I know I saw the tears and I saw the sacrifice. I believe they gave a gift to Carly that's very great. And Carly's a smart girl. And Brandon and Teresa, because of their background and their religious beliefs, I think they will make sure that Carly is very well aware of that sacrifice that Caitlin and Tyler made, and that it was the gift of love from them to her, that it killed them. But at some point, this will all come back together, and there will be tears of joy and reunion and being able to have a family where everybody's free, and Carly can count her blessings instead of being like a lot of people we see on TV who don't know their birth parents, they don't know their siblings, and they don't know who they are truly because they didn't have that privilege.
right. Yeah, I think it all kind of comes down to patience. It
Yeah.
seems like Tyler and Caitlin don't really have any patience for this, and they don't really have some perspective of what is best for her. And being a teenager is really tough,
Yes.
and it's you learn to understand the world in a whole different way.
Yeah.
You're becoming an adult, and everything is upended basically when you become a teenager, or it was for me anyway. It just everything changed. So that her parents are doing the best they can and are making wise decisions for her and allowing her then to make her own decisions later.
And
Um,
kudos to MTV for bringing in Dr. Drew. There are too many issues going on here to think you can just, you know, oh, it'll be okay, it'll work itself out. You have to have the right perspective and the right attitude so that as you're going through this trial and this change, all of these dynamics that are going on, that you can come out bigger and better at the end and closer because of it. Closer
right,
family, closer adoption, everything coming together.
exactly. They're not patient, it seems like, and they want it all.
Yeah.
So
Well, here we go. We got to all grow up, and
Right.
everything can't be 100% our way. And sometimes it's good that it's not.
Right. It teaches you things.
It does. I think I learned so much from being on MTV. I know that I have. I'm so grateful for the privilege of being able to share our story. And I really feel sad that Sophia has not been able to share her story. You saw a little bit of our relationship, and I hope that someday in the future we can share the whole story. It would be a great journey to share. And MTV has made history with all of these children being born on TV. You followed their whole life up until 16. And then you kind of saw them, each one like a baby leaving the nest, each one kind of launching out on their own, being brave, making some decisions that you're going, oh, yeah, I remember when I did that, right? I got
Yeah.
my first car, or I was brave enough to speak up about a hurt or a wrong. I have to change that because I can no longer tolerate that. Thank you for watching the Rebel Podcast. If you like, subscribe, and share, we would appreciate that. And tune in, don't miss the next episode of the Rebel Podcast.